All right, let's get right into it. The Euroleague regular season is officially over. We're talking 38 games in the books, and wow, did it end with some drama. For some teams, the road ahead is looking tough. I mean, really tough. So today, we're going to break down exactly what happened on that final day and why Crvena Zvezda is now facing what's being called a hellish path to the playoffs.
And that's the bottom line, right? You play this long, grueling season, but in the end, it's like a reset button gets hit. For the teams that made it, the real fight for that championship, well, it starts right now.
So you might be asking, how in the world did we end up here? First up, let's talk about that final whistle. We're going to look at how the very last day of action just completely blew up the standings and locked everything into place.
I mean, you couldn't have written a worse script for Zvezda. It was kind of like a perfect storm of bad results. First, they dropped their own game against Real Madrid, which, was tough in itself. But then, almost at the same time, all the other dominoes fell the wrong way. Barcelona, Monaco, and Panathinaikos, they all won. All of it together, it created the absolute worst-case scenario for the team.
And the result of that perfect storm, they land in 10th place. But look, this isn't just about the number. Finishing 10th is a massive, massive blow because it means they completely lose their home court advantage. For a team like Zvezda, with fans that are legendary for turning their arena into an absolute fortress, that is just devastating.
So that loss of home court advantage, that brings us to the real heart of the story. Zvezda's path forward is now unbelievably difficult. The media over there is already calling it a hellish path. And honestly, when we break it down, you're going to see why that description is spot on.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote right here from sportsk.net says it all. It basically translates to, a hell awaits Zvezda through the play-in. I mean, that one phrase just perfectly captures how big of a mountain they have to climb.
Now, for anyone who might be a little new to this format, let's do a real quick breakdown of the play-in tournament. Think of it like a high-stakes knockout round. The teams that finish from 7th to 10th have to fight it out for the last two spots in the actual playoffs. It's win or go home. Pure survival.
And this is what that hellish path looks like in practice. It's a two-win gauntlet. And get this, both games are on the road. First, they have to go to Barcelona's home court, the Blaugrana, and somehow beat them. If, and that's a huge if, they manage to do that, their reward is another road game against the loser of Panathinaikos versus Monaco. Just think about that. Two must-win away games against powerhouse teams just to get a ticket to the playoffs.
Of course, Zvezda wasn't the only team whose fate was decided on that wild final day. So let's zoom out a bit and look at the ripple effect this had across the whole league. When the dust finally settled, there were some clear winners and some other very, very disappointed losers.
Yeah, this comparison really lays it all out. In the losers column, you've obviously got Crvena Zvezda, but Hapoel also had a really rough day, dropping in the standings and ending up with a brutal matchup against Real Madrid. But on the flip side, look at Žalgiris. They were the big winners. They took advantage of everyone else's results, jumped all the way up to 5th place, and got themselves a much better playoff draw. What a finish for them.
Okay, so now that we know who won, who lost, and who's facing an uphill battle, let's take a look at the complete playoff picture. This is it. The bracket is officially set, and we know what's coming next.
So here's how it all shakes out. In the playoffs, you've got the number 1 seed, Olympiacos, waiting for one of those play-in survivors. Same for Valencia, the number 2 seed. Then we have a confirmed banger of a series, Fenerbahce against Žalgiris. And feeding into all that, down in the play-in, we have Panathinaikos versus Monaco, and of course that huge matchup between Barcelona and Crvena Zvezda.
So, what does this all mean for us, the fans? Well, the chaos of that last day has perfectly set the stage for what is going to be an absolutely wild and unpredictable postseason. From here on out, every single possession matters. It is do or die.
And that brings us right back to the biggest question of all. When you look at that brutal road ahead, can Crvena Zvezda actually survive this hell of the play-in? Can they pull off what would be a legitimate miracle? Or was that final day of the regular season just too much to overcome? I guess we're all about to find out.